In this video, we will review the employees and teams setting and creation in Service CEO. We start on the Settings tab. Go ahead and click the Employees and Teams link here. This will bring us to the main Employee and Teams setting page. From here, I can click in here to view employees, add or edit employees, to view my teams, or to actually set up the statuses and sub-statuses of employees. Let's start with employees first. We'll come in here. You'll be able to see a list of all employees that have been set up in Service CEO. You'll be able to see the nickname, the name, first and last, of course, their mobile number. If this box is checked here, it means they've been granted access to Service CEO. You'll be able to see, obviously, their email address, and if you're using business unit functionality, which business unit this employee is assigned to. Let's go ahead and add a new employee to go through all the different options. There are 3 required fields when creating an employee. The first is the nickname. The nickname is the name that will appear on the dispatch board in Service CEO. So if, for example, there were 2 Stephanies in your company, Stephanie Anderson and Stephanie Tam, we would probably say Stephanie T as the nickname so it's clear which Stephanie this is. You can choose the prefix if you would like to. In this case, Stephanie's a doctor. It's optional, of course, to put in the street address, social security number, email, phone numbers, that kind of thing. Let's go ahead and put in Stephanie's address here, though. This benefit of storing the address is, of course, you can use this as a full employee database, so you'll always be able to find your employees' email addresses, phone numbers, street addresses, that sort of thing. We'll skip the social security number right now and go ahead and set Stephanie's email address up in here. This is beneficial for 2 things. First, if you ever were to email a work order or need to send Stephanie a note, having her email address in here means you don't have to find it. And when we get to the bottom below, when we decide to give Stephanie access to Service CEO, the email address field actually becomes required. More on that later. You can choose Stephanie's date of birth. Miss Tam was born March 10th, 1982. We'll go ahead and plug that in. Moving on down, you can create other custom fields in Service CEO on your employees as well. So if there's other information you'd like to store on your employees or ways that you classify employees into different groups, you can create a custom field right here to indicate which type of employee, for example, it is. This can be sorted by on the dispatch board. We have these 2 checkboxes here in the middle. The first, this employee can be assigned to jobs, means that if this is checked, the employee will appear on the dispatch board and can be assigned to work orders. The next, this employee can be assigned to estimates as a sales rep, means that this employee can actually own sales opportunities and can be assigned as a sales rep on a sales opportunity. So if Stephanie was simply a field technician, I would uncheck this box. Or if, for example, Stephanie only does sales, I would set it up like this. Let's go ahead and set up both in this case. Now coming down, we have the status of the employee. When you're creating employees, they will of course be active, but if an employee leaves the company or is terminated, you can come in here and change this to terminated, and they will no longer have access to Service CEO or appear on the dispatch board moving forward. The employee's first workday lets you track how long an employee has been with you. We also have sub-statuses on here which let you classify your employees based on the sub-statuses here. Again, it's optional because there's no red asterisk on here, but it is helpful to group your employees. Finally, if you want to give your employee access to Service CEO, we check this box here. This, as mentioned before, makes the email address a required field here. Gives you 3 options. First is the regional settings to indicate which region this employee is in. Next is the time zone. These are both defaulting from the settings that we set up on the company information. However, if Stephanie is in Central Time and the company is in Eastern Time, we can set that up here. Finally, we have the different security groups here in this drop-down. Clicking the link here, which group should I choose, will give you a full matrix which will detail the different roles that each security group has. In this scenario, Stephanie is a field technician, so we're going to go ahead and set Stephanie up as a field tech only. this limits her rights to those rights that we saw in this link. Finally, when we press save, this system will email Stephanie an email granting her access to Service CEO, giving her a temporary password, which she will then come and use to log in for the first time. Now let's move on to Teams. We'll use our breadcrumb trail to go back to the employee and team settings here. We'll go ahead and click on the Teams link. You can see we've already set up these teams here. In fact, Oscar and Stephanie happen to be on these two. These other two don't have any employees yet. Let's go through the process of adding a brand new team. We'll call this Team B for the sake of this. Next, we have the team leader email. This is helpful if from the dispatch board, say you want to send a quick email or a copy of a work order to the team, it will default to the team leader's email address. Let's go ahead and put Stephanie as my team leader, and now we'll add employees to the team. In this one, we'll set up Stephanie T, who we just set up on here, and we'll also add Jeff. This will be called Team B. We'll go ahead and save this. We've now set up our team, Team B, and if we come look at the dispatch board, we can see that Team B is now here visible in my Teams view. This concludes the training video on employees and teams in service.